Dr. Neinstein and Dr. Pierre. For me, these guys are known as the body guys. Neinstein Plastic Surgery has been leading the charge.
There is no such thing as a silver bullet in surgery. It's a million details.
I want to talk about a procedure that you guys do here and the results have been incredible. The Athletic BBL. How do you guys do it?
The world's difficult to navigate, and people, I think the biggest fear people have is making the wrong decision. They're scared of going to the wrong doctor.
But we are seeing more and more men. It's definitely a rising trend in plastic surgery.
Come in, they're wearing baggy clothes, and a year later, we can barely keep their clothes on. And that has real value in life, to love your body and love yourself.
Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Biohack-it. You guys asked for plastic surgery and I'm here to deliver on that. We're in the room with two of the bestest and brightest surgeons in the game, Dr. Neinstein and Dr. Pierre. For me, these guys are known as the body guys. Neinstein Plastic Surgery has been leading the charge on transforming women's lives and making them feel like their best self. And a little backstory, because I'm no gatekeeper, I met Ryan 5 years ago because I had breast surgery with him. And my results are absolutely phenomenal. I'm very happy, but also the journey into friendship that it's become over the 5 years. So thank you for coming on with me, guys.
Yes.
Thanks for having us. This is amazing. Thanks for coming all the way to New York. We really appreciate your time. And I think you've already gotten into it. The biggest thing for us, which separates us, differentiates us from, everyone else, is medicine to us is not transaction-based, it's relationship-based. It's such a big investment for all of us and for the patient that if we're going to get together, we want to, both of us invest time, energy, and effort for that long-term relationship. And as you can see, 5 years later after our operation, we're still friends and we're still hanging out and we're still talking. So I'm always learning from you. You're always learning from me. So, that's incredibly valuable to us as a practice for these long-lasting relationships.
So Pierre, I want to ask you something. What are women coming in to you bothered by the most? Like when you have consults, what's bothering somebody?
So I'd say the most common thing that we see in our practice is moms that have had changes to their body and they've done everything. They've exercised, they've dieted, they've lost the weight, and they're just frustrated because they have certain problems that they can't fix. Loose skin, muscle separation, that's the most common. But now also we're seeing, especially with all these new weight loss drugs, loose skin is just becoming a bigger and bigger problem for people, and they're very frustrated. So even if they haven't gone through a pregnancy, female patients, male patients, they have this loose skin that they can't get rid of, and there's no amount of diet and exercise that can fix that. So surgery is the solution, and so we're seeing so much more of this at all age ranges.
So I want to ask you, as a patient, when you're thinking of doing something, what's triggering in the sense that's going to move you from playing around on your phone to calling an office to going ahead? Is it more emotional or is it more logical?
I think it's a mix of both. You're driven equally by both. I think the emotion is like, wow, I could feel like that. I could feel so empowered. I could feel so confident if I made this change. And logical is, for me, and I'm going to lead into the next question, is you have to pick the right person because you have to feel safe. Safety and security in elective surgery for me is one of the most, it's right up there. And when picking a surgeon, you want to pick somebody whose aesthetic matches yours. For me, as a patient perspective.
Yeah, how do you make a low-risk decision? Because, you're busy, everyone's information-rich, everyone's time-poor. No one wants to be embarrassed by making the wrong decision, going to the wrong doctor. Yeah. No one wants to, go somewhere where they don't feel heard, loved, and respected. So how do you make a low-risk decision and a highly emotional, beneficial decision as a patient?
I think you have to look at the long-term benefits. How are you going to feel?
How do you choose the doc?
Aesthetics and aftercare. How much are they going to invest in you? And you've done that with me. You were texting and calling, and I knew I had any question, I could text you right away. So for me, I invest in the doctor, like the doctor invests in the patient, and aesthetic 100% because you have to be aligned with their vision.
So how do you, from someone, who doesn't know, you may not know the surgeons in your area, you may not know who the right person is, and you're looking online through social media, you're looking through this or Google or whatever, and you're trying to search through this broad thing, and this is interesting from someone in PR, how do you see a brand what would a plastic surgery brand that's attracted to you, how would that brand look as a patient, sophisticated patient? What would you look for in a brand?
I would look for conservative but lasting results. I would look for somebody whose lifestyle matches mine. So what does a surgeon and his practice stand for? Is it aligned with me when it comes to working out, diet, exercise, lifestyle changes? And I'd also look for amazing before and afters. Those for me, and your before and afters, both of yours are so phenomenal. That's what I look for.
So a lot of that is exactly the same. Like when we're looking for patients, we're looking for that similar avatar. We want to work with people that we like, and that, it's just easier to work with people with similar interests, values, and, those shared values make a big difference. So for us, family-oriented, fitness, funny, witty, they want the best things out of life. They're willing to do the things that they need to do to get the most out of life.
And they're willing to put in the work. I think I want to talk about people when they sign up for surgery. What are some of the things they should be doing before, and what are some of the things you want your patients to be doing after?
Yeah, I think beforehand, this is a relationship. We first want to get into the problems that they're really working towards and not able to solve on their own. Then once they've decided to take the leap, they're going to do this, they really want to prepare themselves for surgery. They want to be living that healthy lifestyle, exercising, be near their goal weight, eating well, doing all those things, and then more importantly, mentally preparing for the journey ahead. It's not necessarily the easiest process. People get through it, but they want to be ready to take the leap. And most of the time, patients come in here, they're just so excited for what's to come. And so they're ready, but we want to help foster that as well so that they're prepared.
Listen, we're the vibe curators, the vibe coordinators, okay? Surgery on the surface it's scary. Our job is to make the patients feel heard, loved, cared for, and to bring them into our community, to be part of our tribe, and to reduce the stress and anxiety by taking care of them like you would anyone else, but far exceed their expectations. And that's our goal every day. People always ask me, like, what's the silver bullet? And I'm going to steal this from Alex Hormozi. There is no such thing as a silver bullet in surgery. It's 100 or 1 million micro BBs, meaning like to curate a vibe for you, to give you an experience that's memorable, remarkable, and remarkable means you go and make remarks, aka you tell all your friends. Yeah. It's 1 million details. That's why we hyper specialize. You can't do 1 million details on more than like 2 things. It's just not humanly possible. And that's how we create a remarkable experience. Almost 100% of the people who walk through this door are friends with someone who had surgery or referred by a surgeon, typically a surgeon from around the corner or from the other side of the country. People who want an easy decision. They go to someone they trust. I want this. Go to this practice. You don't need to go anywhere else. That's like all we've ever tried to become.
Till this day, it's been almost 5 years, and anybody asks me any body work, I'm like, you can't look further than Ryan and his practice and his surgeons and his team. There are 4 incredible surgeons here. They're all very skilled in different ways, and you need to go in for a consult. That is literally what I say till this day.
I have a question for you.
Yes, let's do
it. Because plastic surgery, there's so much marketing and advertising.
Yes.
How do you describe like what a brand is to someone? You're in branding. Like
consistent brand pillars. So what do they stand for? What's their ethos? What are their principles? What are their values?
I'm interested in what Pierre thinks as like a new surgeon coming out of training. He's got all the intellectual firepower. He's got all these skills, and now he's entering the world of, real practice where we're seeing patients, marketing, advertising. What does a brand mean to you?
For me, I think a lot of it comes down to what are the core values, and I think it needs to be authentic. So for us, we really value that relational aspect with our patients, and we're talking to them, we're seeing them, we're constantly in communication because all these little micro adjustments that we're trying to make everything better all the time, you can only do that if you're actually talking to your patients, seeing your patients all the time.
You wouldn't want to cut someone in half you didn't like.
Yeah.
Or maybe you would. But in surgery-wise, if we're going to do this, we got to like you. You got to like us.
Have you said no to patients? Has somebody come in and you're like, no, that's...
Well, it's not dismissive. So, by the way, on the brand thing, the way I say it, I just take Jeff Bezos' line. Yeah. Brand is what people say to you how they describe you behind your back. So that's what your brand is, how people describe you when you're not around. And I hope people say, wow, that practice is really dialed in from the front desk to the nurses, to the coordinators, to the facility, the way it looks, the way it smells, the way it sounds. Every single thing you look at is dialed in to something that attracts people and is consistently perfect or in the pursuit of perfection. What was the question you had?
I had another question for you guys. Is plastic surgery only for women? How often do you see men?
I'll let Pierre take it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the vast majority of patients that we see are women. Part of that just that there's breast surgery, which is still a big part. Like Dr. Anna here, almost her entire practice is built on breast surgery. But we are seeing more and more men. It's definitely a rising trend in plastic surgery, and I think now too with all the weight loss, we're seeing a lot of men that have lost a lot of weight, loose skin, and also because I'm into high def body contouring. That's another area where there's men that have been working out and they just have this stubborn layer of fat. They can't get that muscle definition that they want. And so high def body contouring could be the answer for that set of the population.
Let me see a question. You could pick any surgeon in the world and you see, in every city there's a lot of older surgeons and we hear a lot from, the more mature surgeons. We may have new techniques. They say, well, I've been getting good results for 20 years, 30 years. Why would I change? Well, how does that resonate with a patient? Who's true? Like when you're thinking about a surgeon, when someone says, well, I've had, consistent results for 20, 30 years with my technique, how does that resonate?
I would always pick a younger surgeon who's more ambitious. They will do extra research. They'll push the mile. They'll want to try new things. And for me, that gets amazing results. I had a friend who 3 years ago had a mommy makeover from an older established surgeon, spent $45,000 and walked in like, what did you even get for it? And she's super unhappy with her results because this guy was already in his 50s, kind of like late 50s actually, didn't try anything new. The results were nothing to talk home about. And
so I don't think age matters because there's obviously a lot of amazing older surgeons who are always, it's interesting. I was reading a psychology book. A child, I don't know if you have young kids, anyone, but if you do, like my 4-year-old asks on average 75 to 100 questions a day.
Yeah.
Super curious. When you become a teenager, there's 2 questions a day. When's dinner and can I have money?
Yeah.
Right? The average adult asks 0 questions a day. So part of our, ethos here is stay curious. So with our book club and having all, new surgeons coming in, we're constantly asking, how do we do this better? Even like the little things, like how do we make the room smell better? Let's get let's double click on that. Let's find a way to do that. How do we, find the garments better, make them fit better? How do I suture this better? If the average adult is asking 0 questions a day, and I put together a team of 30, 40 people asking, 10 questions a day, 4,000 a day, which means we are consistently moving, and it's bit by bit. It's not leaps and bounds. It's bit by bit every day. And that's the other thing. When people are alone, who are you asking the questions to?
Right.
You're looking in the mirror or you're staring at the ceiling. Mm-hmm. Having 4 surgeons, all these nurse practitioners, we are able to just ask questions and have a team of people always trying to solve them.
Yeah.
It makes work more fun when you're all if I did the same thing every day, I would jump off a bridge.
Yeah.
I think that's what kind of attracted me to this practice too, because, there's a lot of solo practitioners out there, but working in a team, being able to actually challenge each other, question each other, and really always be working to try and find better solutions to either problems that you have or problems that you anticipate you could have. And you're just, every day, you're trying to improve something. And that mentality permeates through the entire staff, the entire office. And for that reason, we're always getting better. And I think that just keeps you motivated, makes you excited to go to work every day.
I'm interested in what your thoughts are from a PR point of view, because it makes me, it makes me cringe personally. But I see a lot of surgeons trying to get exposure by doing something wacky, whether it's something wacky in the operating room, which is unconscionable, something wacky outside of the operating room, which is unfathomable, or they're doing, they're just trying to either get exposure through whether grossing people out, commenting on other people's work, commenting on doing things like that. Yet these people get, large followings. That's cringe to me. How do you go about that as a PR person? And by the way, these surgeons are proud of their large numbers of followers on whatever platform.
We wouldn't have a podcast talking about optimizing women's health without talking about BodyBio. I use BodyBio every single day, and their hero product is a necessity for everyone in my house. PC is a pure liposomal phospholipid complex that helps protect the 70 trillion cells in our body from aging, environmental stressors, and toxin exposure. This little guy is great for everyone, you, your husband, your kids, and even your pets. Our health truly starts with ourselves, and PC gives them the support and maintenance they need. To learn more about BodyBio, head over to their website, www.bodybio.com, and use the code Biohack-it for 20% off your first order. And if you've already purchased BodyBio and want to rebuy, use Iman at checkout for 15% off all your orders. I don't think picking a surgeon should be about how many followers they have on social media. I think it's about aligning with values. And I don't align with somebody who criticizes other surgeons' work, criticizes celebrities, calls people out. That's not the kind of values I share as a person. So I look for somebody who's kind, compassionate, honest, and they have integrity. And that's what you look for in a surgeon, I feel. Elective surgery is a very, very big decision. It's not something, you have to do. So you have to make sure you're picking a good human at the end of the day who honors his work, but also takes ownership of the responsibility he has towards his patients.
And, as Pierre's coming on, we spent a lot of time, energy and effort, curating the way he interacts with the world.
Yes.
Why do you think people are, trade integrity for exposure?
I think, it's easy to want to try and get a quick fix, but I think a lot of people are very focused on how can I get more patients right now? I think you need to change your time horizon and really think about the long term, because in the long run, if you take excellent care of patients, you get good results. Eventually, word of mouth comes. Like you said, most of our patients come here because they're already a friend of someone in the practice. That doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. And so you just have to be very committed to the process, really take care of people at a personal level. And if you do that, I think over time, that success will happen rather than trying to get the quick overnight.
The trust is built brick by brick. Social media is great for everyone. Number one, our word of mouth spreads worldwide, right?
Yeah.
Last week I did someone from Monaco, I did someone from Australia, someone from Singapore. So there is no, the world is like one spot. Now geography means nothing anymore. But at the same time, our social media presence, brick by brick, day by day, slow, our followers over a decade. But you can get, 1,000 times more followers than us just by doing something crazy. But you have to, I bet you everyone who traded their integrity for exposure, you can't put the toothpaste back in.
No,
I think
absolutely.
in retrospect, they all wish, they would. But it's enticing because it's easy.
I think
this is hard.
Yeah, this is hard. I also want to talk about something that Pierre is doing very special here. You're one of the ones specializing in ab etching, essentially. You're doing this high definition style. So let's talk about the difference in kind of what you guys both do a little bit differently. So when somebody's looking, they're like, should I pick Ryan because I want that look, or should I pick Pierre because I want that look?
Well, this is one of the reasons we recruited Pierre. He has this unique set of skills. It sounds like the movie Taken. Spent his whole life acquiring this unique set of skills for this unique situation. And we're always trying to add not just great people, but great skills. So, Pierre has this ability to take athletic people and turbocharge their athleticism and make them really pop.
Yeah.
So let's
talk about it.
Yeah. So, high def liposuction as really something that took off in South America in previous decades. And then we've really adopted it here in time. And I think with time and evolution, it's gotten a lot better. And the idea is really you want to take someone who's already fit, almost at their goal, but they just have this stubborn layer of fat, can't get that definition they want. And then it's specialized techniques of liposuction to really highlight their natural muscles, their anatomy, to give you lights, shadows, to really give them that muscle definition that they just can't seem to get on their own. And so this can be done very well, can be done very poorly, but to do it well, you just really have to respect that person's anatomy to really try and highlight their body. And you have to choose the right patients.
How hard is it? Because you guys also specialize in very skinny women and making them go up a notch.
I don't think we
No, you guys have very fit people.
Fit
they're
women.
Lean and they're long and they're aesthetic. And that's almost harder, right? Because you get somebody who's already on the heavier side.
I personally get a lot of referrals from plastic surgeons who, they don't think they can tuck this fit women or she's too demanding. So I'm more than happy to take on the tougher, we do the hard things around here.
Yeah.
We want the tougher, more demanding patients because I want them to push me to the limit because then my limit will always go farther. In terms of the difficulty, I mean, he's got the skills, we have the facilities, we have the resources to it's not just doing something in an operating room. When you're doing something more complicated, like what Pierre's doing, you need the team to support, nurse practitioners, you need the aftercare, you need the masseuses who are dialed in, meaning they know what we're doing and everything's coordinated. You need the garments, you need the anesthesiologist. You can't do it in a bubble. You can't just go in an operating room. So that's why you can't do like face, nose, eyes, ears, tummy, butt. Like it's gotta be, just too complicated. It's gotta be focused. And Pierre's like super authentic. Like he's into it. Like this is a look, I have this like very traditional, elegant look. It's a very timeless, I like this timeless beauty. That's why patients, from Miami, California, literally, I think
flying to see you all the time.
every day, they want this timeless, elegant look. Listen, Miami and LA have this curvaceous appeal to many, big boobs, big curves, big butts, but like the patients, some people don't like that, and that's fine. And like if they like that, that's fine too. So we're truly authentic in what we like to do, who we like to do it to. And, while we have authenticity in what we like to do that's slightly different, the way we do things, the way we believe in like hugging our customers, as we call it, is the same. Yeah. And that is, that authenticity is key because I think the only thing that's truly uncringeworthy forever is authenticity. Mm-hmm. And once you break out of authenticity and try to be someone you're not or do something you don't believe in, that's like the most cringe thing when you can see someone like doing something that like they have no interest in.
What are some of both your favorite biohacks or recovery protocols that you love to give patients? I have some notes for what I have heard from people that's helped them, but I want to hear from both of you.
Well, I'm interested in what you like. We have pretty, we learned, by the way, we see our patients every day. Mm-hmm. So, people call us all the time from other offices. Hey, my surgeon didn't tell me any of the things you're telling us. All of the country, everyone wants our protocols. Everyone wants our post-operative instructions. Everyone wants our, Amazon lists. And people always wonder, and surgeons always ask me, how do you come up with all this stuff? And you know what I say? We listen to our patients. Mm-hmm. What do you mean? Like all the stuff on the list, pretty much everything we do, it's like these incredibly smart, sophisticated women tell us, hey, on day 3, I started using this thing. Okay. And then like we try that out with other people. Oh, this is great. Add it to the list.
So one of the things that these guys
by the way, because a man who's never had a tummy tuck, like I am completely useless. Like literally, no clue. So, but 8,000 women
have told you what
and
works.
I have listened to them. So, like, trust me.
Yeah.
Okay?
So one of the amazing
otherwise,
things
you just have an old guy telling you what to do, and they have no clue.
That's what we want.
Yeah.
So whenever you book with, Neinstein Plastic Surgery and any of the surgeons here, because we did a lot of research prepping for this interview, they send you a PDF and it tells you from what to eat, IV places, masseuses in all these different cities and even internationally.
But we don't actually believe anyone reads it, so you still get like an hour phone call with the nurses. And then we don't even believe you listen to that phone call, so you're still going to get an hour phone call with an office manager. And then we still don't believe you, so we're even going to book those things after you. Yeah. So
these guys are super hands-on. I'm going to tell you,
well, it's your body, but it's our work. Yeah. So a lot of the times I just think we care more than you. So
I'm going to give you, I've spoken to a lot of your Mommy Makeover patients. I'm friends with a lot of them. So I've got some recovery protocol tips. So if you're planning to have plastic surgery, and tell me if this stuff is right, okay? High dose vitamin C 1 to 2 weeks before. Super high dose liposomal vitamin C.
Sure.
Okay. Magnesium and zinc.
Sure.
Okay.
I have to admit, and like I'm truly authentic. Like, we have nurse practitioners, which is very unique. Meaning these girls have master's degrees. Okay, this isn't like first year out of nursing. This is the most elevated, and we have close to 10 of them. Mm-hmm. And they take this stuff is like
Bible to them.
This is their MO. This is what they do. They live for it. So these things in our practice change often. Yeah. Like, if you saw my nurse Tara came in, one of our head clinical nurses, she could tell you the difference between 6 brands of vitamin C. You know, I can tell you the difference between 6 types of sutures that are the same, but she'll tell you the 6 different vitamin C.
So I'm gonna go pop over after this. Mike come up and be like, "Hey, like, let's go over this." I do. When I spoke to one of your nurses as well, because I was going through it, I'm like, I'm prepping for this interview. Can one of you jump on a call with me? You guys are very pro lymphatic drainage. Let's talk about why. And you guys are also really pro hyperbaric chambers.
Yes, the lymphatic drainage. I mean, after surgery, your tissues just become like a wet sponge. Mm-hmm. And so you're swollen. We often say after liposuction, tummy tuck, like you're going to feel like an Oompa Loompa. SpongeBob SquarePants. It's very square because you're swollen. So the massage helps wring out that sponge, stimulate your body to get rid of that fluid, and it's just going to help speed up the recovery, give you the smoothest, best results in the long run. So that's why we firmly believe in it.
I have a question for both of you. So I have witnessed and seen not just plastic surgeons. Surgeons in general can be extremely arrogant, right? And it's really nice with you guys. I see there's a lot of humility around this practice. From the minute you walk in to how somebody says hi to you to your patient coordinator. Why?
Well, I think arrogance, you know, if you operationalize the word, it just means low self-esteem, right? So if I have low self-esteem, the best way, and I'm scared of everyone in the world, the best way to deal with being scared is to attack, because I'm so scared of what you're going to do to me. So arrogance to me is, you know, it's low self-esteem, operationalized, meaning you turn a word or a feeling into action, and that action is just treat everyone poorly because they're less likely to interact with me or less likely to say something negative, right? So listen, I don't know like who, what, or where you're talking about, but you know, that kind of person would never be able to work here. One of our core values is, you know, the ability to take feedback. The best, it's not, you know, we don't talk about being right, it's about getting it right in a conversation. So, you know, the best ideas win. It's about being right, not getting it right. So no one has ever won a conversation in the history of humanity, by the way. Okay, this just never happened. So you're either going to be right or get it right. And, you know, like Nelson Mandela says, you can't lose. You can either win or learn. So you have to just chuck your ego at the door. Otherwise, like the arrogant person will never grow. There's no knowledge accumulation, right? Because that's a wall. So you have to just shut that down. And that's why, you know, an arrogant surgeon is going to work alone, because they're not going to have any feedback. They're not going to have to grow, and they can just bark at their staff. But that, you know, if you have unhappy staff, you have unhappy patients.
Right.
So you have to have, you know, people are wired different ways. Like you have to have, like, you know, to work here, I don't care if you're, you know, the night janitor or the UPS guy, like you have to have unimpeachable character. You know, I bet you we're one of the only offices in the world where I can tell you the name of every, like, the UPS and the FedEx guy, you know. Yeah. We see them every day. Should know who they are. Should know about their family. They should come to your Christmas party. They're just as important. If they don't deliver stuff, it doesn't go in the operating room. But arrogance is just, you know, an actionable form of low self-esteem, in my opinion. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it's just so hard to interact with people and then build a quality team, because I think when it comes down to it, yeah, your team is going to be a reflection of you. And if people feel like they're being talked down all the time, they're not going to stay around. No one's going to want to work in that environment. And so in order to keep building, growing, because ultimately, like, we're here to help take care of patients when it's all said and done. And we want to do that in the best way possible. Everyone has to be on board, which means you're arrogant. You're putting up that wall. You can't get that feedback from them. So in order for this to go both ways so that we can all grow together, you really have to be open and not put up those barriers, because everyone will be better for it, including the patient.
Listen, people choose a surgeon. They don't choose a procedure. They choose someone that and they feel truly cares about them, is looking out for their best interest, that they trust. And then they choose the operation they want. But they choose the surgeon first. And nobody wants arrogance.
Yeah.
That's not an attractive trait.
What are both of yours, we'll start with Pierre and then we'll go to you, some of your favorite procedures? What do you love doing? When you book a patient like that, you're like, great.
Yeah.
I want to do this?
I mean, in the right candidate, high definition body contouring is just such a satisfying procedure because you know, if you've got someone, they've done all the right things and they're so close, and like to give them that final mile so that they can really achieve the body that they wanted. It's fun. It's challenging, but that's what makes it fun. And I think I really like that because that's something that I'm the only one here really doing it. And because it's something that's a big passion for me. I'm always learning, how can I do this better? How can I do things a little bit differently to just give an even more natural result, even better result. So I think it's because it's so hard, it keeps me motivated all the time.
Mine's easy. I just like helping moms fall in love with their body again. These moms are savages from around the world. I'm like totally connected because I have, you know, my wife is in this world. I see the fears, the pain, the frustrations that they go through. And then I like to see the flip side of that. You know, they come in, they're wearing baggy clothes, and a year later, like, we can barely keep their clothes on. And that has real value in life, to love your body and love yourself.
Obviously, you all know I'm a biohacking fanatic and I absolutely love peptides. So you can only understand how excited I was when I discovered a skincare brand that works, that uses peptides. That is OneSkin. OneSkin uses the amazing OS1 peptide. OS1 works by actually switching off the senescent cells that drive the aging of your skin. Scientifically proven to give you biologically younger skin with long-lasting improvements in firmness, elasticity, reduction of fine lines and wrinkles, and a more youthful complexion. You can learn more about the OS1 peptide at oneskin.co and use my code Biohack-it for 15% off your purchase. I have something a little bit controversial to ask. A lot of women nowadays are getting nervous with breast implant illness, right? But so what are you guys seeing at the practice? What are some of the do's and don'ts? And I know you're also getting people who are interested in fat transfer to the boobs. I want to talk about that.
Sure. I mean, some people don't want breast implants, so we don't give them breast implants. Some people don't like their breast implants, we take them out. Some people think that they're allergic to them, we take them out.
Okay. And how?
I don't think it's more complicated than that.
And what about how is the fat transfer to the boobs? Like, how does it work? What's the procedure? How can the results? What are the results to be expected? Can you get? I personally have seen you can't get the same results as you can with an implant. But what is doable?
Yeah, so it's liposuction. We're removing fat from one area. We're putting it to the breast. Be a little less predictable because you lose some of that fat. And so in that sense, you don't know how much you're going to increase it. But for patients that want an increase in breast volume with or without a lift and they don't want an implant, that's kind of the only other option to try and increase that volume.
I think you should think of fat in the breast for shape, not volume.
Okay.
You know, a little custom cleavage, a little custom side boob, a little fill, but it's for shape. It is not for volume. Okay, I have questions. You live in Miami, but you have all your surgery in New York, as does every person I know.
Yes.
Why? Why do you choose to live in Miami? And why do you choose to have your surgery in New York?
Aesthetic.
I mean, one of my patients was following up yesterday. She was here with her 4 kids. They're going to their pediatrician, and they live in Bell Harbor. You know.
It's aesthetics. It's safety and aesthetics. I think New York surgeons, especially like yourselves, when it comes to anything body related, are just really taking care of their patients. They invest in the patient-client relationship. I don't think you see that as commonly in Florida. I don't think it's, they really care about the aftercare. I think surgeons in New York are a lot more advanced. So it's aesthetic, client, patient kind of care, and also recovery protocols. You guys go beyond.
I think there's a work culture difference, right? Like people tell me, young surgeons, I'm going to move to Miami for work-life balance. I'm like, what's that? In the sense of by the way, if you love what you do and you're always pursuing, you should love, working hard is not a negative. It's
not at all.
Working hard because you love it and you enjoy the pursuit, like chop wood, carry water, you love the pursuit of learning. If you're thinking more of the club and the beach, your patient's screwed.
Absolutely, especially as a surgeon. I think plastic surgery.
By the way, there's still really good surgeons in Miami. I talk to Miguel every morning at 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
At 5 in the morning in the gym, but obviously there's outliers, but there's cultural stuff. And by the way, they're busy too because the people have the same culture as them. So it's a good fit and they can do good work. The people who come here from New York, Dallas, and LA, which are the 3 biggest sources, they like the New York intensity of the work, and they like the New York aesthetic. It's okay that people work a lot here.
I think Miami has better facial plastic surgeons, in my opinion, 100% than body plastic surgeons, because I personally think it's about how you want to look at the end of the day. So do you want to look natural, long, and lean, or do you want to look like you've had work?
I don't think it's better. It's just like, it's more right for you.
Yeah.
And because I bet you they're busier than anyone here, because it's just right for that
right
patient
for that,
doctor, relationship. When you're thinking about a plastic surgeon, what things turn you off when you're looking at their social media or in a consultation?
That the person seems very uninterested in you and you're just another number for them. They're in, they're out, they're not interested in getting to know you or understanding where your emotion.
Have you ever had a consult like that?
Well, not a consult like that, but I've been very put off by somebody's patient coordinator. I'm like, I'm never going to see this person.
Really?
Yep. I have literally walked away saying this person's office staff or patient coordinator is so terrible. The surgeon's amazing, but I'm never going to.
Tell me about the patient coordinator. Like what makes a good patient coordinator?
Kind, somebody who listens, who's responsive, make sure they're getting in touch with you, hearing you out, making sure if the surgeon is busy, they make you feel really seen and heard.
Yeah, and I think the patient coordinator
And
always
educated.
must remember they're there to serve, not to sell. Okay, this is not a widget,
Yeah.
and you're not trying to sell things.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to serve the patient. And they should understand the patient's problem, concern, frustrations. And if we can help them, we want to, just lead them along that journey. And that's it. That's all their job, is to help them along the journey.
I love I know Bella on a personal level now, 5 years later, but Bella does an incredible job. She's, Dr. Neinstein's patient coordinator. She really puts in care. Even 5 years later, she checks into how are you? How's everything going? Wanted to just check in. And that for me speaks volumes about somebody in their practice. Like, yes, I think a surgeon's team is almost as important as picking a surgeon. Personally, in my
we want to connect and then solve problems for people. But connecting comes first. That's the first thing. And so that starts with the coordinators before you've even met the surgeon, because that's usually the first person you're going to talk to. And then, we want to connect with you too, and then figure out what problems you have so we can solve them. But that's kind of the foundation of everything, is finding a way to connect together and form that relationship.
Okay, so we got 2 Canadians here.
Yeah.
Dr. Anna's Canadian, Dr. Chris is from Alabama. So, the biggest body practice in New York's got 3 Canadians and a guy from Alabama. What does that tell you? It's like, there's a culture of generosity and curiosity and authenticity that flows through us. So, it doesn't matter if you grew up on Park Avenue or in Greenwich, Connecticut, people are attracted to that.
I want to talk about a procedure that you guys do here, and the results have been incredible. The athletic BBL. I've seen results. I'm like, did this person even get a BBL? Because they tend to sometimes look fake. How do you guys do it?
So it's like everything we do. We don't just do operations for the sake of doing them. So we work with people who have the same goals, values, and mindset as us. So if you're going to do a BBL, you need to be focused on fitness and clean eating, right? All you're trying to do is reshape, restyle, reorganize people who really take great care of themselves. If you're not interested in taking great care of themselves, we're not the practice for you, because just taking fat and moving fat provides no shape, no long-term form. So it's more patient choice. I think and understanding, what you're trying to achieve with the patient, but you got to stay with them. I have BBL patients 3 years later we're talking to, because I want to see how that grows, see what I can do more of.
Right.
I think it's really, choosing patients who are just committed to everything we do. We don't operate on people who are not into it as much as we do.
I couldn't agree more. I've seen some incredible results. And what I like to also see is you document patient journeys 3, 4, 5 years down the line, and you're seeing them still have amazing results because of how they're maintaining themselves.
Listen, it's a low-risk decision when people come here. They're referred by a doctor or a friend, and the operation they're looking for, we're like, here's 5,000 stories of their journey. You don't have to think about it. And that's what we're trying to do, because the world's difficult to navigate. And people, I think the biggest fear people have is making the wrong decision. They're scared of going to the wrong doctor. And, for the procedures they want that we do, we're just trying to make your decision super easy.
What happens if a patient, like something goes wrong in a procedure? Like that happens, right? Sometimes something can go slightly wrong or the patient's a little bit unhappy. Or how do you tackle that individually as surgeons?
Listen, we're the customer service in the hospitality business, like everything else. Like, go next door to the plaza, go down the street to the polo bar, it's all the same. If you can fix it, you fix it. If it's and you do whatever you do for hospitality, because hospitality is like a way of life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. Patients in that situation, they have to be heard. You have to talk to them all the time. It's a process, it's a journey, and you're going to go through it all the way till the end. We get them to the end, but we're there every step of the way. It's not going to be,
You're
not left on your own.
Just as long as just make sure it's not combative. Everyone has the same goal.
Yeah.
So I have a closing tradition on the podcast.
Great.
I'm going to ask you both a question. What is the one lesson or learning to date that has been the most impactful and has carried with you throughout your journey? Pierre, do you want to go first?
So I think surgery is a one-time event for the surgeon, but a lifetime event for the patient. And I always think about this when I'm in the operating room. Like, they are going to live with this for the rest of their lives. Mm-hmm. So you need to do everything you can to make sure everything's right, both at the time of surgery and afterwards in that whole process, because they're going to live with this forever. Mm-hmm. And I always think about that every single day, every patient that I'm interacting with.
I got two statements. One a little classical, one a little more modern. As the island of knowledge grows, so does your shore of ignorance, which means check yourself before you wreck yourself.
That's a great one. Thank you so much for doing this with me. I'm so excited to introduce Pierre to my audience, and Ryan, obviously reintroduce you to my audience. Everyone knows I'm a huge fan of yours and we've been friends for a while. And to just teach people plastic surgery is absolutely fine. You don't need to hide, but make wise choices and make sure you're picking somebody who's aligned with you, who's kind, who's compassionate and considerate.
And passionate. They should love it. We
and
show
they love
up.
what they do.
We're like rushed to get here in the morning.
Yeah.
People want to we want to be here. We're like, let's go.
Somebody who cares about their patients and is willing to invest in you. So thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Very excited.